All right, Annie, I'm glad to have you with me. So if you guys don't know, Annie is part of chapter 2 of this book coming out. If you're hearing this or watching this later on, this book would be already out, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm excited to have you with us, Annie. You and I had a great conversation. You shared with me your journey, you shared with me what you're doing to help others, and I'm excited that you're here to share all that to the world. I know you're out there already helping plenty of people around the world, but here's another way that you can actually connect and do that with others that haven't found you yet, right? So why don't we just start off with who are you today, Annie? What are you working on? What are you most passionate about at the moment?
So, first of all, thank you for having me. I enjoy chatting with you very much. And today, I am a master healer and I have a huge experience of 10,000 sessions under my belt. And I am helping people to reclaim their truth. My favorite kind of work is deep shadow work because it's the most neglected part of our existence. And it's the part we tend to avoid. And the strange and funny thing about me is that everything that other people do not like, I have a sweet tooth about all those topics. Fear, grief, death, darkness. I love all those things so much because this is the place where our potential lives.
Our what? I'm sorry.
Our
Potential.
potential.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so we have to get out of that, right? Right. So we gotta get out of all the fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Actually, fear is an indication that you should do it. This is what I do in my own life. Every time I'm scared of something, I go do it because this is an indication that I'm stepping out of the comfort zone and into the growth zone. And this is our only hope to evolve and grow wiser and get better.
Yeah. But a lot of people get stuck, right? They don't want to navigate and jump into that. How does somebody like just slowly dive into that fear, that uncomfort spot to even know that things are going to be better on the other side?
Actually, fear is just a reaction of our system, and it's just a notification that, hey, you're stepping into something that you don't exactly know. It's not your zone of genius just yet. But if you step out of the comfort zone and let yourself experience this so called unknown, because the moment you step into it, it stops being unknown and unknowing. So if you do not let your fear lock you out of those big moves, you always win. It's not either you learn or you win. You learn and win at the same time, every time.
Yeah. And so you might step into something new and accomplish that, right? But then you might have to navigate into something else thereafter that's new as well. So again, that's uncomfortable, but that's still another like, how do I do this? Like you're kind of still scared, right? Even though you took that first step. Do you see that a lot from a bunch of other people that you work with?
Yes, I see that a lot, actually. And I think the first leap is the most difficult.
Hmm.
Once you do it and your system understands that you weren't dead, you have survived the leap, then it gets easier. And there comes a point when you use fear as a notification, an indication that this is the next door to open. So fear it is just a reaction, nothing else. It's not a reality. And when something lives in the present, we do not feel scared or fearful. We only feel fear about things that are living in the future, potentially, that might happen in the future. When something is happening in the present, we cannot feel fear.
True. Because nothing really happened, right? Because we're, like you said, fear is projecting the future. Yeah. So if we just learn to focus and stay in the present, how would we all show up?
I think when we are aligned and attuned in the present, we are free. This is the biggest gift of being in the present moment, the freedom that it provides us with. Because if I am trying to control what will happen and try to have the perfect plan to address this potential scenario, then I lose my present moment. And this is the only real thing that I have in terms of time.
Very true.
And when this situation happens, if it ever will, I can address it when it is in the present moment.
Yeah. I like that. So, yeah, it's not easy for some people to stay in the present, right? That's something that we have to work on. And even like we were talking about, just navigating and stepping into the fear of the unknown and do something different. Um, is there one quick example before we dive into, your journey of how somebody can try to work on themselves to be present?
Yes, one simple exercise is to focus on your breath. Just observe your breath. Let it flow in and out of the body and just follow it. No control, no effort on your end. Just flow with it.
Is that like is that considered like meditation?
It could be, but it's too short to be actually meditation. You cannot reach meditative state in such a short amount of time that you're signaling this exercise works in two different directions. First of all, you connect again with your body so you're present, and then you are sending signals in your body that we are safe. So your nervous system is being soothed and regulated, and you stop being fearful.
I love this. And I'll share why I love this. I just got off of something, I was on somebody else's podcast and he asked me something about how can somebody get through the toughest times, when they hit something like a big impact in their lives. And I answered that. I said, just breathe, right? And for me, when I answered that, it was more of calming, right? And coming, everything's okay. You can sit back and kind of relax. So I love how you just shared this with me, and it kind of says, yes, that's what you got to do. So I'm glad that everybody's listening and watching this too. If we just learn to breathe and bring us back to where we are today and not what happened before or not what might happen, everything is fine, right? We're alive, we're breathing, we're well. It's okay. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to share that. Thank you. I mean, like that's just like it's so funny how everything just clicks together. But I would love for you to share with everybody, how did you start to help people like this? What did you experience in your life to get to this point?
Many things. I went through many portals of awakening, and I had my fair share of pain and grief and fear, of course. But I remember myself as the person who was always good hearing others out, listening to them very carefully, seeing them. And I had always people coming to me for my point of view, for my advice, if I may say, although I do not like this term. But I was always there. I love listening to people's stories. I love witnessing their wisdom, even though they might be unaware that they hold it. But I have um, a good eye to distinguish this wisdom and call it out, call it forward. Because we all hold our wisdom and it is taken for granted by us because we live with it and in it every day. But it can be really profound when it is mirrored back from somebody else. So I started my own healing journey 15 years ago just to understand myself better and unlock. I felt like I was split in two halves. So 50% of me was here with me and the other 50% was somewhere. I could feel it, I could sense it, but I wasn't able to tap into it. So my first goal was to unlock my potential and build more self-awareness. And when I started my own healing journey, my healer back then prompted me to become a healer myself. She was insisting that I should be trained to become a healer, although back then I wasn't feeling like that at all. I tried the first training out of curiosity because this is me. I'm very curious about learning new things, experimenting, playing around, and see what comes out. So this is how it all started. And then everything else happened naturally. And I really feel this is my life purpose, if I may say.
Yeah, that's cool. So you've been navigating and doing this ever since then?
Yeah, it's been 10 years now.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And then, so I remember us talking before, and you mentioned how you prayed because you were going blind or something with the eyes.
My great grandma
And
prayed for me.
that's it.
I was very young. My mom got sick with chicken pox
Hmm.
while she was pregnant with me. And when I was born, I had a severe condition uh, with my eyes, and I had to go through a surgery. And as we were waiting for the date of the surgery, my great grandma on my mom's side prayed for me. She was very connected with God, the universe, life, whatever you want to call it. She was calling it God. And when we arrived at the hospital to have the surgery, the doctor said that the problem was fixed. And we headed back home. I can't remember the story because I was about 1 or 2 years old, but I have heard this story many times.
Mm. And what did that story do for you?
I believe that when somebody's life is starting like that, it is engraved in their makeup that miracles are possible. So it created maybe a transcendental experience for me.
Mm.
I can't remember the exact sequence of events because I was very young, but what we experience stays with us. And we know that in healing and in therapy and in trauma therapy. So we encounter very often very early experiences that we're not able to recall consciously, but they are there. The imprint is there.
Yeah, and that comes back then, right? The imprint.
the imprint gets activated.
Mm-hmm.
It might be dormant for many, many years, because if we're talking about an event that is very important in our lives, it can activate survival mechanisms, coping mechanisms, because we have to be functional, we have to survive, we have to stay safe. And this is why it becomes dormant. The imprint, the trauma becomes dormant. It stays underneath the surface, it stays buried. But then when something happens at some point of our lives, it might get triggered again. And although it is dormant, it runs our life because it is living in the subconscious level. So we make decisions, we choose things, and we're not happy with our choices so many times. And I have heard so many people saying, why is this keep happening to me? I don't want it. I'm not happy with it. Why is it happening to me? So while nothing can happen in our lives without our consent, either conscious or subconscious. This is why so many people have abusive relationships and they stay there. Or they get out of one abusive relationship only to fall into the next abusive relationship. And here's my question. If anything can happen to anyone, because we know that's true, and if everything is random, as many people think or believe, why some people never have abusive relationships, for instance? That's just an example. And why some other people are constantly having abusive relationships with their parents, with their partners, in their jobs, and finally with themselves.
Yeah. And that's just the trauma and stuff from the childhood.
Yes,
Yeah.
in most cases, yes. And the funny thing is that for a child, trauma could be anything. It doesn't have to be something extraordinary, something very complicated. Anything can be a trauma at that age.
So do you have a quick example on something that's small, minute that could be?
Yeah, I had a woman that couldn't quit smoking no matter what she tried. And at a point, I don't know how it came, like it hit me. And I asked her if she was breastfed as a baby. And she asked her mother about that and what happened back then. And it turned out to be a very traumatic experience for her because she was breastfeeding as a baby and her mom got sick and she had to be in the hospital for some time, and she stopped breastfeeding her. But it was so abrupt, so harsh for the baby. And once we healed that and went through that and she realized why this is happening, how is it rooted in her system, she quit smoking.
Yeah. What's the process on that? Because those are like completely different things, right?
Mhm.
Breastfeeding and smoking. So how does she pick up smoking that would kind of fix that trauma?
It's not about fixing the trauma, it's about the input. So, breastfeeding happens through the mouth,
Hmm.
and it is not only about nutrition and food, it is also about soothing the baby's nervous system. which is also happening when we smoke.
Interesting. Now that you said that, I can see that. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. So what other like examples that has there been anybody that you can think of like that kind of stood out as, something that might happen to a lot of people? They just don't know how to deal with it.
I think every individual has their own story,
Hmm.
their own traumatic experiences, and of course their own makeup. We're not the same. So there's no one size fits all. But there are many, many examples throughout this path that I could write a book, literally, with
Yeah.
all those cases. And every case is very interesting.
So if somebody is dealing with trauma, how do they know that the who, what's inside of them that says they need help? Because most of the time it's not somebody else, right? Telling them that. So there's got to be something internal that says I need help. I need to reach out to Annie so she can help me. Like what happened? Do you have an idea of what happens with people when they come to you and they go, I need help?
Different things. It's not the same for everyone. Some people um, have problems with their relationships. Some others have problems in their jobs, in their professional environment. Others are just curious. Who am I? What am I doing here? Is there anything more than what I perceive in the present moment? How can I learn more about myself? Others are just anxious and they want to feel relieved. Others are breaking under the burden of carrying so many responsibilities for themselves, their families, and stuff like that. So there are plenty of reasons that they never suspect how deep they can go when they meet me. They usually have something urgent to resolve, and then they fall in love with themselves and all the potential they hold within.
So they fall in love with themselves because they got rid of the trauma?
They fall in love with themselves because they understand how multidimensional they are, and they start understanding how they can shift their reality. They start experiencing their power because most people nowadays are feeling powerless. They are just running and rushing through their days, having not fulfilling 9 to 5 jobs, paying bills, and waiting to die. But this is not really life.
No. I can speak from experience on that one because I was doing a 9 to 5, felt like I was doing that, coming home, taking care of the family, the kids, etc., and just rinse and repeat. Right. And ultimately for me, it was losing my job and then, being told the word divorce that I kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Who am I? What am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? Right. And that's kind of how I worked on myself. Right. So would you say that there's a lot of life-changing experiences in people's lives where they might just open up and go, this is not me. I'm meant to be doing something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm meant to to live life in a different way. There's more than that. Or there's something missing.
So how do we, yeah, so after a life-changing, so what would you say if somebody went through a life-changing event, how do they navigate through that to find out, their purpose or whatever they're supposed to be doing?
Where I stand these days, I find life changing events fascinating. But there was a time in my life that I was afraid of them. So my advice now would be enjoy the process because you're becoming something else. You're evolving just by experiencing this experience. Don't try to overthink it. Don't try to overanalyze it. Don't confuse yourself by staying in denial. Just accept what is and dance with it. Because life is amazing and it has a very rich imagination. And we never know what life has in store for us. Miracles wait for us.
You do. I agree. Yeah. And so this all goes back to like being present and stuff, right? And just enjoy. I love when you said enjoy the process. And that's basically what it is. Um, but ultimately, a lot of us want to get to that point quicker than that, you know what I mean? Like just say it was money or something. We all want to be rich or whatever. We want it now, but it's going to take years to get there, and we don't know how we're going to get there, right? So there's that. And so like that we're not enjoying the process then because we're struggling. We're trying to compensate something to fix something, right? Um yeah, so it's I guess you have to sit down and realize, what am I experiencing? What am I going through? And maybe who do I turn to if it's like yourself or whatever to just navigate that, and you get that wisdom as you said before, so that we can all get to where we need to be, but just be us, right? And would you say be vulnerable and authentic to add those words in there?
Yeah. And authenticity is not something fixed. We tend to talk about authenticity as it's something like a recipe, you know? You go by the book to become authentic. No, authenticity is evolving alongside with you because it is changing, because you're changing. And also, vulnerability is a very misunderstood concept. Vulnerability is the existential form of flexibility. It's not exposing yourself, it's being flexible enough to understand your power and not be broken.
Hmm. I'm thinking about that one. Understand your power and not be broken. I like it. Yeah.
Vulnerability is power. You are so soft like a cloud, and you're unbreakable.
Yeah. I like that. I like how you just said the definitions of those two words is um because I say those words a lot, especially when I'm doing the podcast, right? That's who I'm looking for is those people. But when you define it in that way, I mean that brings it down to me a deeper level, right? Like that's why you are vulnerable. That's why you are authentic, and this is who you are. Um, I'm glad I asked that question because that that definitely changed this podcast episode for me. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm definitely gonna have to go back and go through this again myself. But yeah, you, Annie, you just unpacked like a lot of stuff here. I mean, is there one thing that you would say that you wanted to add to this that was not mentioned?
Mm, Let me think, or let me feel if there's something.
Mhm.
I would say that our whole existence is a dance between light and darkness. And we are like night skies. We have to be a bit dark in order to see the stars.
Hmm. I love that. That's a good one too. You just keep packing them in here. Um, awesome. So what's the best way for anybody to connect and reach out to you, and like who do you actually help and support?
I mostly help and support nurturers in any form. This is my archetype. I love people that love giving to others, that love taking care of the collective. They can be moms, entrepreneurs, artists. I don't care about their professional or social identities. I care for their heart. I don't care for their gender. I don't care for their ethnicity, their age, just for their heart and their innate qualities. And those people can find me through our website, seedsofbliss.life, and our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube under the handle of Seeds of Bliss.
Awesome. Thank you. So I have one question to ask you. And what are 3 key things you've learned and used along your journey?
3. Okay. I have to be succinct and choose 3 of them.
You can do it.
Top 3.
I know.
Okay. First thing is befriending death is a key to the full life. Embracing darkness is the pathway to really embody your light, and the portal to manifest them all, your light, your darkness, your desires, your goals, is your human messiness. Honor the messiness. Creation is messy.
Hmm. Messiness. Can you define that for somebody?
Yeah. All those scary moments where you feel you're getting nowhere. When you lose your courage because you're not seeing the exact result, all the moments you find yourself crying on the floor because you're feeling you're not enough.
That's
This
yeah.
is where miracles are happening. Everything is shifting. You're just not aware that this is happening for you.
Hmm. You just look at all the wrong things. You think it's all wrong. Yeah. And that's again, that brings us back to being present, right? And just seeing that everything's okay and just know to keep going forward. Awesome. Is
Yeah.
there anything else you would like to add, Annie?
I don't think so for now. I mean, if you leave me here and keep prompting me, we can spend the next 2 years.
Oh, great. All right. Awesome. Let's do it. Okay. I got the whole few next 3 years ready to go. All right. Um, no, you unpacked it a lot in a short period of time. And I can only imagine what it's like just to work with you and just how you can help so many people get to the other side, right? So I am so grateful that you are on this podcast, you're part of the book and get out there, you're helping a bunch of other people. A lot of people need this stuff. A lot of people need to hear it and understand what you're doing. So I'm so grateful for you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, for your time and your nice vibe.
Ah, you're welcome.